You're listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. Hello, welcome back to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Allison.
And I almost said this is a Teen Wolf podcast, which I guess it is, but that is not how the opening goes.
No.
But, you know, we'll figure it out eventually into however many episodes this turns out being. How many episodes of Teen Wolf are there?
Like just over 100, I think.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But because I've been listening to Glee on the Rocks for so long, I think I know how that intro is going to go. And I always expect you to say, it's like, it's a Glee podcast. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Listen, it's very hard not to say that. And I keep thinking I should come up with something else to intro this as. Like, I don't know what that would be.
Something else.
Like, Teen Wolf. I don't know.
No, we're not. The fella also saying something to that effect earlier today. So that's a hard pass.
All right. Well, I mean, this is episode 8. It's not too late to change the introduction. I'll take it to the board. I'll put up a whiteboard on the wall and I'll start.
Sounds to me like Wesley already has thoughts.
He has thoughts. The podcat is here. He's been trapped in the room because either he wants in or out at all times. I'm sure the listeners know there are cats involved in the making of these podcasts with the cats. He's going to get himself tangled up in some wires, so that's nice. Yeah, he's not a good boy.
But he's real cute.
I think so.
So we forgive him for his transgressions.
We forgive him politely. No, if I let him out, he's going to come back in, and it's going to be a whole thing.
It's going to be a whole thing.
You have to train an 8-year-old cat.
Gosh, he really is that old, isn't he?
I know.
Wow.
Look at him trying to open a door without any opposable thumbs. You know he opens doors, though.
I do know he opens doors, which is why I'm saying, like, yeah, that sounds like a thing that he would do.
It's just this door has a round knob and doesn't have the flappy, he can't push it down.
Doesn't have the flappy, yeah. I've lived with both Emily and this cat, and I am well aware of, like, putting a door with a flappy handle between Wesley and anything he wants.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well. He just hoists his ass up there and dunk.
He's so long.
He's a long boy.
Whereas my beloved baby boy, Pickle, is just round and sad.
Round and fluff.
And just kind of looks at the door forlornly and then looks back at you forlornly and then stares back at the door. It's like Heathcliff on the moors.
He's a little less proactive about getting out.
He's just like, if you loved me, you would let me out.
Yeah. Whereas Wesley's like, you must hate me, so I'm leaving. Two sides of the same dipshit.
And the two of them together were quite a show.
I know. I assume he misses Pickle.
I assume Pickle misses everybody, but that's neither here nor there.
Choco boy.
Yeah, he's pretty cute. It's why we don't eat them.
We try. Well, speaking of eating.
Oh boy.
Is that a proper segue?
No. No. There's no.
This is season 1, episode 8, Lunatic. With a full moon approaching, Scott becomes distracted as his senses heighten and he worries he may kill. However, Stiles has a cunning plan to thwart Scott's hunger. See, there's the eating. It worked. This episode aired July 18th, 2011.
So I watched this episode, but only a few hours ago. I don't remember a cunning plan.
It's not cunning at all. It is brute force.
I remember a plan, but if there was a cunning in there somewhere, then please let me know.
No, I think cunning is really giving him a lot of credit.
Cunning, not that Stiles isn't cunning. He does a lot of smart things in this episode, but the plan isn't particularly one of them.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. I mean, credit due where credit due. He tries.
He does.
Especially because he's not happy in this episode.
No.
And it's a good thing that Stiles does not yet know all the ways some... There's a third host on this podcast today.
He's just upset that Scott and Stiles are fighting.
He is. He's their number one fan. It's a good thing that Stiles does not yet know all the ways that someone can hurt a werewolf.
Yeah.
Because I think he would have employed them.
Just a little in this episode, I think.
Yeah, I think he would have gone a little wild with some wolfsbane on his buddy in this episode.
Just a little. Like, we'll talk about it when we get there. We'll get there when we get there.
When we get there.
But, like, this episode for me really is now the image I have in my head when I read the tags on AO3, the, like, bad friend Stiles and bad friend Scott. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is where I can pull that from because neither of them are shining beacons of friendship.
No.
With Scott in this episode in particular and Stiles a couple episodes back, what's a Heart Monitor? When he's,
Yeah.
like, taking revenge on Scott, like, not they love each other, they are best friends, they are brothers, they are,
Yes.
and sometimes we do crappy things to people we love.
Yes, and.
Yes, and.
He really yes-anded this relationship this episode. Maybe yes, but it starts out with them going out into the woods to get drunk and wax poetic over their respective girl issues. Stiles wants to pine over Lydia while Scott is obviously in a funk over Allison. I'm assuming Stiles got that bottle of Jack from his dad's liquor cabinet.
I imagine so. I imagine that that's where that bottle came from.
Because it was not full, so it looked like it had been partaken of.
I feel like in the beginning it's a full bottle of Jack,
Is it?
but by the end of it, it's like a little bit of a bottle of Jack.
Well, by the end of it, it's been smashed.
Yeah. By the end of it, it's on a tree.
Uh-huh. We do have a canon or fanon moment of werewolves can't get drunk on like regular liquor.
So it's definitely suggested here,
Mhm.
but it's not confirmed
Yes.
because it is heavily hinted because we don't see Scott actually drinking at all.
Right.
And Stiles is the only two who are visibly drunk. So either they split the bottle and Scott isn't getting drunk at all, or he can just handle his liquor better than Stiles, or Stiles drank like 2/3 of a bottle of Jack by himself.
And I don't think his tolerance for that is high enough. For that,
No, probably not.
I feel like he would be vomiting all over the forest floor.
For sure. So in this moment, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Scott is wearing the official Hail Pack leather jacket.
He is.
There's a lot of like leather coats in this episode, and
There
it makes me
are a lot of leather coats.
it makes me real happy. That's definitely a fan or canon that gets me every time in the heart.
It's too bad there isn't like an official invest something. What's the word there? Where they Derek like hands someone a leather coat, like you are now part of the pack.
Yeah, like an initiation ritual when
Yes,
they get their official
the
jacket.
official leather jacket. Unfortunately, the party is ruined by two random ass older dudes showing up to fuck with them in the way that bad guys in TV shows do.
I'm an intimidating figure.
Mhm.
Grr.
I'm gonna fuck with teenage kids because I can, and I have no
Grr.
self-esteem. Scott, however, feels the need to threaten one of them back with his eyes going all werewolf gold, and like his voice gets all auto-tuned,
Auto-tuned.
and his claws start coming out. It's a little threatening. I feel like maybe this guy is gonna, well, he's not actually gonna go home because he ends up dead, but he would have gone home and been like, well, that was weird. Some guy's eyes just changed color. I don't know
Huh.
how to explain that shit.
That's odd. I wonder
Yeah.
what has happened.
I wonder. Unfortunately, when Scott and Stiles leave, the two dudes get attacked by the Alpha, who
So-
feels the need to put one of them into the fire pit.
Burned alive. Man, that sounds
Whew.
like a terrible way to die. I wonder if that's going to come back in a plot way.
Yeah, it's almost like it's happened and is personal.
Almost like that was an intentional choice. Huh.
Mhm.
How about that?
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
And then the camera pans up on the full moon because, in case no one had noticed, it's a full moon.
Dun dun.
Rough time for the wolves. And that's the whole episode. That's all.
Pretty much. Like a lot of stuff happens in the middle, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. It's the full moon. People get alpha'd.
Yeah. It's a lot of stress and tension going on.
Yeah.
Nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy. Nobody's happy. Least of all Scott, who is having a rough couple of days plus the moon. So he gets woken up by his alarm, which is set to the radio, where he learns that police are still searching for alleged killer Derek Hale.
Mhm.
And Mama comes in to save the day.
Yeah. And then he's mean to her.
He is very mean to her, but it's a theme throughout this episode, and we're not going to blame him entirely.
I'm going to blame him a little bit because maybe men should learn to control their emotions.
On the one hand, you're not wrong. On the second hand, this is a fictional werewolf who's being messed with by the moon. So we're going to
By
give him a break.
which, I don't know, is it ironic? Because, like, menstrual cycles, moons, women, hysteria, that whole
Maybe.
is that just kind of funny or no?
It's a little funny. I'll
It's
give
a
you
little
that.
funny.
I'll give you that.
But yes, he is mean to Mama McCall, and absolutely no one likes it. And he should really apologize to her because she does not need that shit from him.
No, but it does show the disintegration of their relationship step by step.
Yes, and that something's not right with him.
Yeah, something's up.
Something up. Do we next go to Allison? Is that
Yeah.
she's getting dropped off at school? Yeah.
She's getting dropped off at school.
By both her dad and Kate.
And like, I know we've done the math, or some people on the internet have done the math, and we talked about it. And just seeing Kate and Allison together,
Mm-hmm.
these two are sisters. Like, they're not, but they are such sisters. They love each other so much. You can feel it in the car.
Yep.
Like, ugh, they love each other so much. They
Which
really
is
do.
like, I mean, the problem sometimes with good on-screen chemistry is when the relationship in the show is a negative one, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't want to woobify characters. You
Right.
want them to be bad when they're bad.
Right.
I just hate Kate because she hurts Derek. But part of me is like, oh, wouldn't it have been great for Allison to actually have a sane and helpful mentor in her sister aunt?
That would have been super cool. Unfortunately, what she gets is Kate.
Yes, it's terrible.
Like, eventually, she does get a sane, beloved mentor
Mhm.
in her father. But in this moment,
Yeah.
Aunt Kate is definitely not the answer.
No.
But, like, as we look kind of through the course of the show and what happens to Allison, what happens to Kate, and the things that they go through, so much of it is tied back to their relationship. Just
Yes.
how much they really do love each other and care for each other.
Mhm.
And it's very sweet. And I just want to separate them immediately because Kate just wants to murder everybody. Everybody, 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 everywhere.
Everybody all the time. Like, there's no pause. She's always just, like, on edge.
And I think this is one of the reasons I like her, is that she's a homicidal maniac. But one of the things that Kate and Stiles have in common is that they're both very much like punch first, ask questions later.
They are.
And they're both chaotic little
Gremlins.
they're just both chaotic little gremlins.
Yeah.
And like, Stiles is usually a chaotic good and Kate is usually a chaotic evil, but they're both little just goblins of chaos, and they're so much fun.
Which also could have been a really interesting character relationship if she wasn't fucking insane.
But unfortunately for everybody involved,
Yeah.
Kate is a little extra unhinged than regular.
Yeah. But again, all characters can't be good, right?
Yeah.
Like, they can't. So, like, you just have to let it be and not be like, oh, isn't it such a shame that she's a crazy person? But it's fine. It's fine. When Allison finally is allowed out of the car to go to school, Chris admits to Kate that he underestimated the danger of the alpha, which is what's big of him because he also, I think, considers himself the alpha of his family.
At least until season 2, yes.
Yes, until then.
Until season 2.
Yeah.
And Kate is very clearly like, da-doy. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, buddy.
Yep, guns out.
At all times. But Kate is definitely reasserting her dominance in this scenario and uses this newfound, I was right, you were wrong, you should listen to me, towards some ends in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nefarious ends.
Nefarious ends.
Not good for some people.
Not good for some people. No, not good. Not great.
I feel like I maybe didn't put my notes in order, but Allison and Lydia have an interesting little conversation here in the hallway, singular, where Lydia thinks, well, she tells Allison that Allison was correct in dumping Scott because she tells Allison that Scott locked them in the classroom and left them for dead. Is this step one of some subterfuge? What do you think we're doing here?
I'm trying, as I watch this episode, I'm trying to figure it out. And as we discussed last episode, they all just can hold hands and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But a square is apparently not as strong as a triangle, question mark. So I would agree that this is part 1 of subterfuge, because Lydia has been noticing for the past few episodes that Allison and Jackson are flirting. Jackson and Lydia are on the outs. Allison and Scott just broke up. So there is a small possibility that Lydia might be nudging things in certain directions to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Because this is not what she says to somebody else
No.
later.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
And we don't, I mean, well, I don't want to say we, but I don't love this version of Lydia.
Nope, absolutely not. I do
good.
not love season 1 Lydia. I am so grateful that they let her grow up and develop and change and evolve and flourish into the incredible, incredible character that she becomes. Started from the bottom, and we're at the bottom.
Start at the bottom. We're going to stay at the bottom for a season.
Yeah, but it's definitely, if you really want to look at the whole 100 and whatever episode arc of a character that sticks around for all or most of the time, it is really wonderful to get a well-rounded picture of who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Who is she? What are her motivations? What's important to her? So that you can actually see the change and understand the pieces that are changing and why.
Right.
I don't like watching
No.
this, but I think it's important storytelling context for any potential development that she may get.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Not thrilled, but supportive.
Not happy about it, but it makes for an interesting character.
Correct.
I just in this episode, it's so annoying. God damn it, Lydia, the fuck are you doing?
Stop it.
Stop it.
Make better choices.
Yeah. Terrible. Who do we have Stiles next?
We have Stiles next. And gosh, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling this really tight pressure around my head where my glasses usually sit. I think my goggles are on too tight.
And that the only question he has for his dad is, how's Derek? Have you found Derek?
Have you found Derek? My goggles are on too tight. They're on too tight.
Yeah. I don't know why his dad is at the school.
I don't know.
But yeah, he's just approaches the sheriff to be like, have you found Derek? Where's Derek? Is Derek okay? Have you found Derek? Where's Derek?
I don't know, Stiles. I don't know. But Stiles is, of course, super worried about his father.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be careful, especially tonight.
It's a full moon.
It's a full moon. There's spooky things that go bump in the night. And the sheriff says that they've brought somebody in who does know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of investigators, like an out-of-towner kind of. And I think I have to go back and watch it again. But I think this guy, the guy in the suit, comes back.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I looked at his face and I was like, and then I didn't know, do I just recognize you from other shit on TV?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is honestly, here, if you can just cut this out, we can go back and check. Hold, please.
No, this is the behind the scenes.
Hold, please. All right, we're gonna mute this. We don't need that. And
just do a little elevator music.
And there's Kate being cute and Lydia being a little cumbersome and Stiles worrying about his father and father saying, no, we are fine. Everything is fine. All right. And then we look over, to the guy with the weird little diamond print tie. So a weird guy in a diamond print tie. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Because there's the same guy in the same weird diamond print tie.
Okay.
So it is, in fact, or at least it's a guy in the same costume, but he's wearing the same diamond print tie.
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
We'll get there in just a second. So we cut back to our episode where they're all, the sheriff's like, don't you have a test right now? Go to your test. And we're all just like, test, question mark. And all of our characters walk into what looks like a big kind of auditorium-shaped classroom.
Yeah, I had questions about this test.
Where Harris, the chemistry teacher, looks to be handing out an econ test.
Okay, yes. So for one thing, they're in high school. Why aren't they just taking an in-class test?
It's a test.
It's just a fucking test.
It's an end of unit test.
What is the problem here? It's just a blue book chemistry. I mean, if it's Harris, it should be a blue book chemistry test. So why aren't they on just like a Scantron? Or
And why aren't they in the chemistry classroom?
why are they in the chemistry classroom? Why are they in a separate like a stadium seating classroom? And then yes, it's definitely an econ test, right?
It's definitely an econ test. I think the only thing I can think of is it like an AP econ test?
I don't know. Is he proctoring someone else's exam? I don't
don't
fucking know. And then I was
don't-
like, this is why some people shouldn't be allowed to watch TV shows because that's all I could focus on. Kind of
Yeah.
like Scott. I was like trying to read the questions. Like
I was trying to read the questions.
I passed chem, but like only because I test well. Like I don't remember shit from chemistry, but I was like, these aren't chemistry questions.
These aren't chemistry questions. And so that's definitely what I was thinking the whole time. I was
Me
like,
too.
so, like, why is the chemistry teacher proctoring an exam in a different classroom? Hold on a second. This is an econ test. Where's the econ teacher? Where's coach? I had a whole like my notes right now are just full of question marks. Is Harris giving a chemistry test in an auditorium? No, it looks like an econ test. Where is coach?
No wonder Scott could not get his shit together because he was also like, why is this an econ test? I studied for chemistry.
He is having a hard time in this moment. He hears everything in the room. He's getting super distracted. The words on the page keep changing and then they get spooky.
In his defense, I also hear all that shit in a classroom too. So like, I feel you.
And I don't, but it's because I didn't just break up with my anchor.
My anchor.
But Scott has definitely just broken up with his anchor and he is having a rough go of it. Poor kid.
It would be really troublesome if one of the questions on your 25% of your grade was like, are you going to kill all of your friends? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, no, maybe, none of the above.
That might put you into a tailspin.
And he does.
He does.
Gets up and leaves the classroom and Harris calls out after him. And then Stiles, being a bestie, gets up and goes out after him. And Harris looks as though he's going to try to chase them and then just gives up.
I know. Yeah, he does. He was like, I actually expected a line being like, you're both failed. But
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't happen.
No.
We do find Scott in the only place he could be, the boys' locker room in the shower.
That's the only place. It's the only place he could be. I really appreciated how we went from like fun, silly, goofy, whatever to these like few, like this like 30 seconds that was all horror coded.
Yeah, Stiles like stalking through the locker room, like, what's gonna happen? Like, probably nothing.
Yeah. And then they get one of my favorite like classical kind of instrumental pieces from Teen Wolf. That album, by the way, is incredible. That's Ulfar Ul. I can't pronounce his name, but the piece of music is incredible. I listened to that album a little too much. You'll find it on my Spotify.
Nice.
But Scotty, our poor Scott, is having a straight up panic attack in the shower.
Yes, he is. And Smart Styles tricks him into using his inhaler because he thinks he was having like an asthma attack. And this is where we find out that Stiles used to get panic attacks after his mom died.
Poor mom.
Poor mom.
Poor mom.
Very
But
sad.
yep, that explains why Stiles is so protective of his father. It's because he's already lost his mom. He's not going to lose his dad too.
Yep.
I would say fanon or canon, but we all know this is canon.
Yes. There's no questioning happening here.
Yeah. And Stiles kind of recaps the scenario that it is a full moon tonight and that the alpha, which is your boss, is coming for you. Like, so at this moment, Stiles is convinced that Deaton is the alpha.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going with.
We also don't have any other options, right? Like as an audience,
yeah,
we think Derek is dead or just viciously wounded.
Yeah, because we haven't seen him since he got stabbed by the alpha.
And Deaton's really the only other suspect.
Yeah.
For the audience.
For the audience, yes.
I can't even think of who else might have been hinted at. That as an audience, you could plausibly be like, Greenberg.
Greenberg.
Well, speaking of Greenberg,
Swerve, it's Coach.
that would have been funny.
That would have been hilarious. No, I think as an audience, we were led to believe it was Derek.
Yep.
And then Derek's like, it's not me, man. And then Derek gets stabbed by the alpha, so it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Deaton. Spooky Mr. Deaton, spooky doctor. Yeah, I think at this point, that's pretty much it, unless you want to like start pulling names out of like thin air, like the Argents or, Mr. Harris, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Harris definitely comes with a coding of problematic.
Yeah.
Like, he's trouble somehow.
Yeah.
Totally.
And spoiler alert, he's a bad guy.
He is, just not yet.
Just not yet. Just not today.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of bad guys, we go to the famous Argent garage where all of the guns are.
The gun garage.
The gun garage.
They're planning out their full moon attack.
So my question here is, so we did go back and check the source material. Yes, the fancy guy in the suit that the sheriff called in, quote, who does know about this sort of thing, unquote, is present for this scary gathering of Argent hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
1, is this scary man in a suit a hunter? 2, what does he know that he told the sheriff's office? Is it just like, I've seen these kinds of animal attacks before?
Mm-hmm.
Or was he like, I'm part of a super top secret supernatural policing agency? So like honestly, my question at this point is like, how much does the sheriff know and is just not telling us? Is there a world in which the guy from the super top secret whatever tells the sheriff like, hey, we've seen this before, take a seat, it's probably werewolves, and don't tell your kid? I don't think it's likely, but there's a lot of threads there that need tying.
Yes. But that is the tagline of Teen Wolf.
A lot of threads that need tying.
There's a lot of loose threads here. Or it was just the actor who was available.
Yeah, they should have changed ties, man.
Wouldn't have known you if it wasn't for your tie.
I wouldn't have known you if it wasn't for your tie. But that's okay. It's a classic dad tie of the 2010s. But the Argents are all in the garage talking shop.
They are. They're planning out the full moon. Apparently, the alpha is closer to just like a normal wolf on the full moon because it too is struggling under the magical sway.
The sway of the moon.
But Kate wonders what if the alpha has a reason to stay focused? Why do we think she asks this?
I don't know.
Like, what has she seen that would prompt her to wonder if the alpha has an anchor? She doesn't know who the alpha is.
No, she doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Why do you ask this other than for the purpose of the plot? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Also, considering that they're doing this about the same time as are they doing this at the same time as the lacrosse game? Or lacrosse practice? So they're doing this in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah.
Don't these people have jobs?
Yeah, your father is a highly respected federal arms salesman.
Don't you have jobs? What are you doing? Go to work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get back to work. But yes, this does bring us to lacrosse.
Oh, can we rewind for just a half a second?
Sure.
They're talking about, what do we do when we find the wolves? What do we do if we find Derek? And in walks the icon, the legend, the myth, the mother, Victoria Argent. You find him, you kill him, you cut him in half. Would anybody like a cookie?
She's insane.
I love her so much.
Oh
my gosh, she's incredible. Again, like she is again in this entire family of sociopathic murderers. She is again tied to humanity by her love for her daughter, by her love for Allison.
Yep.
And in the meantime, she's definitely on Aunt Kate's side about just like, no, it's cool. Just murder first, ask questions later.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She also has the weirdest hairstyle.
Yeah.
She looks 60.
Yeah, she does.
She's not.
No.
It just doesn't. Why? Don't do
I
her like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't hurt this woman like this.
It does age her a little, but
It
I
does.
just this particular just drop. Just you find him, you kill him, you cut him in half.
Cookies, anyone?
Yeah, exactly. I'm having a lot of conflicting feelings. Derek Hale is my firstborn son, but I do love me some Victoria Argent. So
Cookies?
cookies.
Would not eat anything that woman made.
Cookies.
They're laced with arsenic and God knows what. Mm-mm.
So, from one deeply uncomfortable scenario to another, we flash to the cafeteria during lunchtime where Jackson and Allison are flirting.
Yes. Yes. This is where I get confused during the show about like what time is it? It's like, oh yeah, it's still lunch.
That's still lunch. I was wrong. It wasn't after school. It's in the middle of the day.
It's the middle of the day. Yeah, Jackson was flirting hard. The wiping the sauce off the mouth, like he had full thumb. I was like, whoa, buddy, did you wash your hands? Like, nah. Teenage boys in their hands, like.
Scott is overhearing all of it. He's eating lunch in the hallway.
I know.
Like, kiddo. Sir.
He's eating lunch in the hallway, but he is eavesdropping hard on someone flirting with his ex-girlfriend.
Correct. And gets so upset about it that he like smashes his head into the wall and breaks the wall. Sir.
Yeah. Someone is going to notice all of the damage to the school eventually.
Yeah.
Like, who fixed all of the damage after the locked-in night?
I don't know, but they did say on the radio in the morning that the school had been closed Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, there was a lot done. There was a dead body dripping blood. That was a biohazard.
And the fastest auditorium seating bleachers I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on at that school.
At my high school, we had a set of those, but they are now so slow and a little sad that you have to like guide them on the tracks.
Oh boy.
That scene would not have worked in my high school. But yes, then we move to lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Where the team has come down with a horrible case of pink eye.
Thank you, Greenberg.
Thank you, Greenberg. And we get our fan and our cannon moment.
Of Stiles making first line?
Of Belinsky.
Oh, Belinsky, yes. Call me Biles or I swear to God I'll kill you.
Biles, call me Biles.
Me Biles.
Fantastic.
Well, Scott also becomes co-captain with Jackson because I guess we're bringing 2 squads. I didn't understand that, but I don't understand. Like, were there a practice squad and a regular squad? Is that what they're going to
take his unit and add it to your unit and make a big unit?
I was like, what are we talking about?
Sir.
I think he just wanted to say big unit.
I think he did. I'm like, is this a dick joke or are you just...
It might have been.
What?
Yeah, I think it might have been a dick joke. However, we do have beautiful voice of reason Danny coming in to calm down Jackson, who is not happy about having to share his captain title with Scott, saying, who the hell cares? He's a good player. Because Danny is maybe the nicest person in Beacon Hills.
Correct. And we get like straight up confirmation in this moment that Jackson and Danny are best friends.
Besties!
They are, in fact, best friends, that they do lean on each other, that they are there for emotional support. We like besties.
And I would love a whole episode of just them being besties.
Yes. That is something that I really appreciate about Teen Wolf is while they all have their ups and their downs and their good days and their bad days, it really does give us lots of examples of men and boys, but men being emotionally supportive of each other.
Yes.
Which I really appreciate.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially younger. Yeah. They're all teenagers. They're all high school boys.
They're all high school kids. And they're trying their best. And like, does it always work? No. Are they sometimes awful to each other? Yes.
But they make up.
Yeah. But they make up because they're friends and they understand. Like, Danny in that moment understands that what Jackson doesn't need is like, oh, just toughen up. You're gonna wreck him and get it back. But what he needs is someone to validate his feelings, like, and to say, it's gonna be fine. Stop it. In this moment, you are overreacting, and we're gonna make it through.
Yep.
And like, is he perfect? No, of course not. If someone said this to me, I'd probably explode on them. But I would come back a little bit later with my tail between my legs because they would be right.
Yes.
So
totally. Danny. We also learn here that Scott can smell jealousy.
Pheromones, chemo signals.
I guess this is canon.
It's canon. It's canon.
Which poor Stiles immediately wants to know if Scott can use his newly honed powers to find out if Lydia is into him because he has been obsessing over her since third grade.
How do we think this is going to end for Stiles?
Absolutely terribly, but I don't think, when you're watching it for the first time, I don't think it ends in the way that anyone is expecting it to end.
No, I agree.
Which is terribly.
Deep sigh.
Because
and as Scott walks towards Lydia, you hear Stiles in the back go, "You're my very best friend in the whole wide world."
Which makes what happens worse.
Correct.
Because instead, Scott asks Lydia if Allison still likes him. And because Lydia is also feeling the pull of the moon, I don't know. She's also feeling
Something.
Not 100%.
She's feeling some kind of way.
She tells Scott that, yeah, but only as friends.
Oh.
And that she knows he locked them into that room to protect them, which is not what she told Allison, 2 hours earlier?
Yeah.
And then she goes full tropey, what do you want to call this? Like flirtatious.
Is this what the TikTokers are talking about with pick me energy?
No. Okay. Did you ever see Grey's Anatomy?
No.
At all?
No.
Okay.
The only Grey's Anatomy I have seen is when I got home and you were watching Grey's Anatomy.
So whether or not they know this, but the Pick Me Girls, Pick Me comes from Grey's Anatomy. And it's a scene with Meredith talking to McDreamy where she literally says, pick me, choose me, love me. Because she's telling Derek to choose her over Addison.
Is he still married to Addison at this point?
Yes. She is like, this is when she's telling him to like sign the divorce papers and stay with her. I think it's a season 2 episode.
Gotcha.
But like, she literally says, pick me, choose me, love me, which is where, I don't know, 15 years later, 20? Yeah, probably 15 years later, the pick me girl comes from.
Gotcha. Well, in any case, Lydia is putting her big flirt eyes on.
Yeah.
This is a girl on the hunt.
Yes. I'm on the hunt down after you.
Correct. My favorite part, though, is like, because Lids is given that, like,
sex kitten.
That's the word. It's a real sex kitten kind of vibe. But then Scott does like the spooky werewolf look. He like looks at her like over the brow. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing, sir? No
offense to the actor, but that's like not hot.
I was trying to figure out if that was trying to be hot or if that was trying to be scary.
I know.
I'm honestly not sure. Well, so and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Scott McCall definitely does, I think he's trying to do the thing that we see later in 3B, which is when one actor is having to simultaneously play 2 parts, like a good guy and a bad guy. And he is trying, I think, because there's a kind of that like more squinty downturned like glare and the kind of darker voice and the crueler words. There's like he goes kind of back and forth. And I'm not sure how intentional that is or was supposed to be. But it definitely felt like it was a different flavor of Scott.
Right.
It was a slightly different version of Scott. Because Allison girl crazy Scott would not have done this.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. And then Scott and Lydia making out in what I think is Coach's office?
I think so. Poor Coach. He doesn't need this on his desk. In front of his desk.
He can't smell the pheromones. It's cool.
Yeah. And then Scott goes right back to Stiles and lies to him and says that Lydia is totally into him.
And again, in this like really vicious way.
Yeah, vicious.
Like last episode, Scott would not have done this to Stiles.
No.
But it definitely felt like a kind of a darker, spookier, different version of Scott.
Yeah.
That talks to him this way. He's got a kind of a different lilt in his voice, like a little bit of a different like look in his eye. It's a very different person.
And it's not like he's doing it offhandedly, like he wasn't paying attention. He's doing it
On purpose.
purposely. Yeah.
Cruelly.
Cruelly, yes. So then they get into practice, and Scott's a dick about that too.
Punches Danny.
Like, he knocks him out. When Danny's a big dude.
Sir.
And Lydia comes to check on Danny, which is kind of weird, but what it does is it instigates the moment where Jackson notices that her lipstick is all messed up.
And it's in this moment where I paused the video and said, no, it's not. Because, first of all, she is wearing gloss.
She's wearing gloss.
And not a lipstick. And second of all, it's not messy at all. It is perfectly placed. This, I think, is one of those moments where either the makeup costuming team did not read the script, or they tried a take of making out with Scott and Lydia with lipstick on, and it got to be too much, and so they put her in gloss instead.
Mm-hmm. Or it just didn't look good, right?
Yeah, it looked something.
Yeah.
But Jackson points it out, and Stiles, you can hear the little gears in his brain start going based on the lipstick comment and Scott being a jerk, and figures out that something just went down between Lydia and Scott.
Yeah. My poor boy. It's a shit day for everybody.
It's a really bad day for everybody. Speaking of really bad days for everybody, Mr. Bear is about to be murdered as Aunt Kate teaches Allison how to shoot a taser.
Yeah. I mean, of all the weapons, probably not the worst.
No, not the worst.
Yeah. You do know that she's doing it for nefarious reasons, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
But worse, though, is that Allison starts crying about Scott and then reveals that Scott knows Derek, which Kate is very interested in.
Kate is super interested to know about all the details of alleged killer Derek Hale.
And the whole time I was like, Allison, shut up. Allison, shut up. Allison.
Kate knows more than you. Stop it.
Yeah, I was like, shut up. Stop it. Say no more.
And so she doesn't really understand what's going on, but she starts kind of talking a little bit about Scott and Derek and how Scott and Derek know each other.
Mm-hmm. Shut up. No talkie. Code of silence. Zip it.
Cone of silence.
Everybody shut up.
So speaking of people who don't shut up, Stiles politely lets himself into Scott's house.
I love this because for a hot minute I forgot it was Scott's house. And I was like, what's Mrs. McCall doing here? Oh, right. It's her house.
He has a key.
He has a key. And then that's what Mrs. McCall, she's like, you have a key. Okay.
Made it myself.
Myself.
And so we get confirmation that Mama is worried about Scott, and Scott's not talking to her like he used to.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we just think about this season, early in the season, it's episode 1, episode 3, Scott was talking to Mama McCall about, there's this girl named Allison and I really like her and I'm bringing you dinner at work. And now in a matter of 3 weeks, he's turned into this different person.
Mm-hmm.
And she is worried.
Yep.
But then reminds Stiles to be careful because it's a full moon.
And hospitals are traditionally known, and ERs especially, are known as being a little wild on the full moon.
It's where the name Lunatic comes from. It must be important. It's the episode title.
It is. Apparently, research has indicated that ER visits do not increase during a full moon, but I trust nurses.
I trust nurses. It's cool. So Stiles wiggles his way upstairs to find Scott sitting in the dark like his mentor, maybe possibly turned lover, Derek Hale, sitting and glaring at Stiles in the dark.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, he's just pulled a Derek. Mm-hmm.
And Stiles comments about the serial killer look in your eyes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Fully serial killer. Yeah, he looked fucked. Well, Stiles has brought a bag of goodies to
very large chain.
It's like that looked heavy. It's probably a good idea that Mrs. McCall didn't ask what was in the bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's brought chains to keep Scott inside during the full moon, but he surprises Scott by handcuffing him to the radiator instead.
You think you're gonna chain me up like a dog? No.
Yeah. Well, no, but Stiles later does really kind of lean into the dog aspect. when he brings Scott some water finally, he pours
Oh.
it into a dog bowl that he's written Scott's name on, and I was like, "All right,
Oh.
he's mad."
Oh, he's so mad. That's so
Yeah,
oh.
he's mad.
Oh, that's such a dick move. It
It was funny, but it
was
was a dick
hilarious,
move.
and it was also horrible.
Mhm.
Like, whenever I, again, read a fic that has bad friend Stiles on it, this is the moment I will think of.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, the planning. He doesn't have a dog. He had to go and get a dog bowl and then write Scott's name on it.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I would not want Styles mad at me.
No.
And I feel like Styles is one of those people you can just imagine has been underestimated his whole life.
Absolutely.
Because, like, Dylan O'Brien gets bigger, and it's always in Fanon. It's
Yeah.
always like, "Oh, he's smaller than he seems, and underneath his clothes, but he is slight in
Yeah.
these early." He's not a big dude,
Not a
especially
big
up
dude.
against some of the other, like, adult
Yeah,
characters,
for sure.
but, like, he does carry the look of someone who has been underestimated much of his
Yeah,
life.
for sure.
But then he pulls something like this, and you're like, "I would not want to be on his bad side."
Oof. Giving you some payback for making out with Lydia.
Hell yeah. Especially because then Scott goes off and taunts him about
Yeah.
that Lydia kissed him.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I
I feel like that was a mutually agreed upon makeout sesh.
I also, but we're gonna go back and consult the document.
Just consult the text. Well, and I mean, doesn't it depend on the take they used?
It
I guess
does
the take, like,
probably.
I mean, technically the take they used is the canon event. You
Yeah.
don't get to use the unused takes to decide what canon is.
Yeah.
Unless it's supernatural, then I get to decide whatever the fuck I want.
So they're moving towards each other in the thing. Do 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 do. Yeah, she kisses him,
Hmm,
but not by much.
okay. Well, maybe he was just being polite about a lady.
Yeah, she kisses him, but not by much because she goes for it and then he goes whoop.
Okay.
So yeah, technically that's
He
correct.
goes, "Whoop?"
Whoop. It's that curiosity pony being like, let's investigate.
Yeah.
But we do again get that like very stark dynamic between like villain Scott, scary, unanchored full moon Scott versus like puppy dog Scott versus the regular Scott that we know and love.
Mhm.
This feels like a very stark difference when he's taunting Styles.
Yes. Yes, this is full, like, dick bag.
Yeah. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But he did it.
So between the taunting and the dog bowl, we get a little bit more of Jackson and Allison. Allison is walking through like a sports store and picks up a site because she's
Yes.
thinking of picking up an old hobby.
Yes. Well, at first I thought the old hobby was gonna be gymnastics.
Same. And I
I was
was like,
like,
why do
"Isn't
you need
that
a
your"
site for that?
I was like, "Wait, isn't the old hobby gymnastics?" But
No,
yeah,
the old
she's
hobby
talking.
is archery. And Jackson, I can't tell if Jackson is being an actual emotional support for Allison or if Jackson just desperately wants information from her, but he's pretending at least to be an
Mhm.
emotional support for her.
Yep. And a little flirty.
And a little
A little
flirty.
flirty, but also, like, we've both, like, seen some shit.
We've both seen some shit, which they talk about in the car. They
Mhm.
go out to this car and they park it in a parking lot like you do when you're teenagers because it's the only private space you have.
Yep.
And Allison tells Jackson, like, I don't think it was Derek in the school.
Mhm.
And again, I have so many
Correct.
questions. Like, you're right, but
But why would
why?
she think that?
Why would you think that? I have questions.
Yeah. I mean, I get at some point you have to move the plot along, but there was nothing there for her to think that other than vibes.
Yeah.
Like, and she doesn't even know Derek. She has no vibe check.
I've met Derek once, I think. It's probably fine. That doesn't feel like him. It's cool.
She can't roll a vibe check. She
She
has
cannot.
nothing to check event
She has
against.
nothing to check. She has to roll a nat 20 and she's not doing that.
Jackson can kind of, because as much as the show wants to be like Jackson Alpha, it's Jackson Derek. And the more I watch these episodes for like the first time in a long time, I'm like, what is going on with Jackson and the Alpha, which we'll get to at the end. But I'm like, it's Jackson Derek. That's Derek's DNA or whatever the fuck's going on in the back of his neck. Like,
That's the weird part about it. When you dissect it, knowing all the information, you're like, how is this connected?
how?
How?
Yeah. So I feel like it's Jackson who could absolutely have said, I don't think it was Derek because the vibes are wrong.
Exactly. It didn't feel like the vibes in my neck.
Yeah.
My neck was telling me no.
My neck was telling me no.
But my body.
Oh, wait, we can't do that anymore.
Deep sigh.
Gross, gross, gross. But yes, at least there's two characters talking shit out, right?
Yeah.
I love that for them.
And a bunch of stuff kind of goes back and forth. We go back and forth between Jackson and Allison and Scott and Stiles.
Yes, this was hard to keep notes on because I want to be like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then there's a dog bowl, and then Scott's begging to be let out, and then Jackson's saying this, and then Scott's I was like, fuck.
It's like, so we're bouncing back and forth.
Flash.
But like, they have bouncing back to Scott and Stiles. We have one of my favorite shots of Stiles leaning up against the wall, kind of like head in his hands. Like, it's such a good shot. They recreate that shot with Lydia in like season 6, I think. It's fantastic. And Scott is going back and forth about being a bad guy and then a good guy and then a bad guy. And then Scott gets completely wrecked when the moonlight hits him.
Yeah.
He just completely wolfs out and breaks free of his restraints. And Stiles goes, oh, shit.
Yes, that is the correct response.
Correct. So we come back upon Jackson and Allison talking in the car, and Allison's like, there are people lying to me, people closer than Scott. And she calls out her father, saying like, my father is lying to me.
About what?
And that's the question of the day. Is
About
Aunt Kate
what?
lying to you? Or are they just telling different stories?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That she immediately believes Kate.
Yeah, she does. Immediately.
Which, okay, like, you know, when you're 17, like, you don't trust your parents.
No.
So that's almost fine. You're like, you know what? Nobody trusts their parents when they're 17.
No. But I have a flash forward to season 2 in this because Scott, you know, seeking out murder pieces or his anchor or, you know, whatever, runs to Allison and finds Allison and Jackson sitting in the car. And to his credit, does not storm up to them, just kind of awkwardly watches them from a car across the lot and has this straight up red fuzzy hallucination of the two of them making out. Like hardcore making out in this car.
Yep. Which I didn't know that was like a symptom of werewolfism.
Because it's not.
Yeah.
The only other time we see something like this is there's an episode in season 2, to my knowledge. There's an episode in season 2 where they all get kind of accidentally poisoned by wolfsbane. And then they have hallucinations that look a little bit like this. The werewolf hallucinations look a little bit red and fuzzy like this. This is kind of what the alpha vision, the corrupted alpha vision kind of looks like. I just don't know where this hallucination is coming from. And I wish I knew.
Right.
I wish I knew.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Jackson's talking to Allison about, I came upon this guy in the hallway and he like looked like a man and then he got down on all fours and was like hands and knees. I was like, no, like hands and feet. He looked like an animal. He moved like an animal. And it's like intercut with like Scott like leaping around things. I'm like, oh, good job, guys. Good job.
That actually looked pretty cool. I like that.
That was good.
Until like he lands on their roof and is about to murder them.
And is interrupted
by another wolf.
Da, 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 da.
It's Derek.
Yay, he's alive!
Hi, Derek. Fully wolfed out in his leather, tackling him right off the car roof, and into the woods they go.
Power slam! And my note here is, like with Scott's wolf makeup, his wolf makeup changes only a little bit and then kind of gets incrementally better. And they really land on Scott's wolf pretty early. They don't really change a lot in season 1. It gets better in season 2 and it just like stays great. They don't figure out Derek's for a while. Derek's whole wolf face now is different and to me is worse.
This one is worse. I don't care for this one.
I don't care for this one.
It looks a little bit like Wolverine.
A little, yeah.
I wonder, okay, I have no idea. We'd have to ask the makeup artist, right? Of like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Is it just the angle of Tyler Hoechlin's jaw where he's so angular, right? Like he's a very angular face.
Yeah.
Is it that putting prosthetics on it is just weird?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because
But
this one makes his whole face look so long.
it
Like,
does. It's very long. But I'm not too worried about it because he steps out of the shadows and he loses the wolf.
that was a cool shot too. I like that one.
That was nice. And he is just trying to support Scott and stop him from hurting people.
Yeah.
Because he is a good werewolf dad.
He's a good werewolf dad.
At least in season 1, he's getting better. In season 2, he takes a nosedive.
Is he a wunkle? A werewolf uncle?
A wunkle. Yes, he's a wunkle. Wunkle Derek.
Wunkle Derek? No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm keeping that. Thank you. Merch. Get your merch here.
I'm a wunkle.
Oh, fantastic. So, as Derek is coming to save Scott, we get the shot of the only other person who regularly comes to Scott's rescue, Stiles. So Stiles is coming up. He's driving in the Jeep trying to find Scott, and
which has been fixed.
Which has been fixed and comes upon a crime scene.
Ba-da-da. Lots of cops, lots of medics, a body on a stretcher. He automatically assumes it's his dad because when you're an anxious panda, you assume it's your family members.
At all times. And he's about to have a full moment when he figures out that it's been burned and that it's dead, and he hears his father from across the crime scene.
Yep.
And this hug, I cry.
Just a little bit, yeah. I love their relationship.
So do I. They're both messes, and they're both trying so hard, and they love each other so much.
They do. And the actors have such great chemistry about it.
They do. And so Stiles and his dad are just like, they're just sitting and talking, and then we flash to some people watching them. Odd.
Chris and Kate have rolled up.
And they're like thinking about the alpha, and they're thinking about the full moon, they're thinking about possibilities, and they're flashing back to episode 1-4 when they stumbled upon those 2 beta werewolves. You said that there was a big one and a small one. Is it possible that the small one wasn't just small, but was he also younger? Smash cut to Stiles talking to his father. Is Stiles a werewolf? Dun dun.
Well, no, but good thought.
Good train of thought. Wrong answer. Come back. Try your work again one more time.
And in 99% of fic, no.
Yeah. Correct.
Weirdly. I mean, not weirdly, but just interestingly.
Yeah.
No. He is he human boy.
Pretty much. Now, I will remove my goggles for this next scene because the looks... So Derek basically like carries Scott inside and puts him down on the bed. And their faces are so soft with each other in this scene. Scott is so scared. He's like so tired. He's so heartbroken. And Derek's face is again so soft because, we know things looking in hindsight, but I don't know if the writers knew this at this point. Derek understands what it's like not to go too far like sexually, but like to go too far with a girl, to make choices you can't take back.
Right. Yeah.
And is deeply empathetic with Scott in this moment. And if I were a fic writer of any kind, I would extend this particular scene to include the one shot, because there is the like, I can't do it. I can't be with Allison. And I can hear Derek in my head going, no, so just be with me. Just stay with me. I can feel it in my bones. To the Scarrick shippers in the universe on this podcast. Just, I feel ya. I feel ya. I do.
All 3 of you.
No, I'm sure that there are people. I sit in a different camp, but I absolutely understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of like talking back and forth about like, can I be cured? And Derek's like, no, I can't. Yeah. But maybe you can. You have to kill the one that bit you. So they set up a lot of lore in the first season of Teen Wolf. Does this one stand up?
Okay, so honestly, I thought, my brain, so I don't know about you, and I don't know if this is like an ADHD issue. My brain is often trying to fill in dialogue before it happens.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like a writing issue too, where even if it's a new movie that I'm watching for the first time, I'm often, especially if it's like a cheesy action movie, I'm often trying to predict the lines as they come. Because sometimes you can, right?
Right.
No offense to the screenwriters of those action movies, because I love them and I will watch all of them. But sometimes the lines are kind of obvious because they're meant for a general audience, and They're just predictable, and that's fine because, like, what else are you supposed to say after, like, "Let go of my son," whatever. So, when he asked, "Is there a cure for someone who is bitten?" My brain could have sworn that it was the bite is a gift, that there wasn't a cure, right? Like, I do not recall lore about killing the one that bit you beyond absorbing powers.
Yeah, and I think this comes back at the end of season 1, and then they might just drop it forever, because
Mm,
this doesn't sound familiar enough to me in a way where it comes back, I don't
mhm.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think this lore stands up,
Mhm.
but we're gonna have to get to the end of season 1 to figure out why.
'Kay.
Dun dun.
Yeah, I was just like, "I don't this is not it doesn't sound okay, alright."
And Derek makes an offer. If you help me find him, I'll help you kill him.
Mhm. Da da da. Which did feel like the end of the episode,
Yeah,
except
it did.
it wasn't.
It wasn't. We got 2 more little sprinkles of plot.
I thought that was gonna be a smash cut to black, and it was a smash cut to the Alpha surveying Beacon Hills, and then I was like, "That's the end of the episode," and it's not.
Well, because you get the smash cut of the alpha, and then at the very, very end, that alpha transforms into something,
Mhm,
to a very dapper head of hair.
mhm.
Looking at that silhouette makes me feel some feelings.
Yep.
Feeling feelings.
Mhm.
And then that smash cuts to Jackson.
Well, okay, but if you think about it, we know the Alpha's a dude,
Yeah,
which is a little like, "Oh, it could have been a lady," but
it
no, it's
could
a
have been a
dude.
lady.
It is a dude.
Yeah, well, we smash cut to this dude, but we smash cut to this dapper head of hair
Mhm.
that Deaton doesn't have.
Deaton doesn't have, so let's cross Deaton off the list. Yep. Check, check. So now we're down to no suspects?
Yeah, 0 suspects, only alphas.
And probably a white guy?
Probably.
If we think about the kinda hair?
Probably.
But the final this is like the Lord of the Rings ending number 3,
Yes.
is Jackson getting home and realizing that there is scratch marks on his car, and he pulls, like, a clawed nail out of his car.
An entire ass claw.
Mhm.
Scotty, my boy, you have ripped out an entire nail. Are you doing okay?
Yep. Probably not.
No. Ow.
Yeah, actually, that's a great question because it always just looks like his nails grow into claws
Yeah.
and then go back.
Ow. Ow.
Yeah, ow. So I guess can't answer that one.
Can't answer that one. So Jackson finds this thing in his car and plucks it, and it's this entire ass fingernail. And because it is now that time of our program for arts and crafts with Jackson Whittemore, today he's making art with found material.
Yeah, he is, straight up stolen the lacrosse glove, I guess, from Scott from how many episodes ago?
Like 5 or something?
Yeah.
From several episodes ago.
Several episodes ago, and he matches up the claw to the hole in the lacrosse glove.
He sure does. Jackson's little brain is thinking,
He's thinking.
thinking. And now we finally smash cut to black.
Now it's the end of the episode.
So we have learned so many things yet, and so many characters are having a lot of thoughts and feelings. Scott and Stiles are definitely on the outs. The entire, little quadrangle of Scott and Allison and Lydia and Jackson are feeling a lot of feelings.
Yep. It's a rough day in Beacon Hills.
It's been a rough day. God, they all took a test.
That's right. They had to take a test.
They had to take a test. Like, this is a bad day. I hope tomorrow is better.
Yeah. Wonder how everyone did on that test.
Probably not that good.
Mm-mm. I don't think so. I don't feel like anyone was prepared for it. 2 people didn't get to finish it.
I don't know. And if Harris was the one doing the study recap day before the exam in econ, God, they're all will have failed.
Right. Yeah, we don't even know what kind of test this even was.
No idea.
Fucking rough.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, kiddos, getting
Good
out of
luck.
that school.
Good luck, kiddos. I hope this semester gets easier, and it won't, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of episode.
Yeah. This was a lot of episode. True facts.
Yeah, there was a lot happening here. Good? Good, bad? Good? Good episode? Probably.
I liked
Kind
it
of.
fine. I will like it less as we get to episodes after this because we're steadily clicking up the roller coaster.
Mhm.
Click, 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 click.
You're grading on a curve.
As my coffee tries to make my body healthy. It doesn't sound like it. Wowzers. But no, starting from next episode on 1-9, really, we just start getting into all the hits.
Mm.
And the hits just keep on coming. I like this episode. There was a lot. I think it was a little oddly paced.
Yes.
A lot of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yes, that is true. It goes between a lot of things.
It does. But it definitely does illustrate in a very real, quote unquote, real way what Derek has been trying to get through to Scott the whole time.
This is true.
You have to listen to me because this thing is coming. You can't avoid it. You have to know how to control it. You are going to hurt people. It is going to get scary.
Mhm.
You have to trust me.
Mhm.
And Scott's been like, nah. And now he's here and it got really scary and he tried to hurt people and he's ruined some stuff and he is realizing that he actually did need that help.
Yep.
And because Derek is ultimately a good dude, he showed up anyway.
Yes, he did. Well, he doesn't want anyone to get hurt.
He
Enough people
doesn't.
have gotten hurt in his life.
So many people and he's tired.
Yeah.
Same fam.
He's
Same.
he's so tired.
He's just tired all the time.
This
You've got to
man
be
is
kidding me.
so tired.
A legend. So is it that time?
It's that time.
It's that time of our program where I speak Giffer to all of my beloved compatriots out there on the internet. This is the episode you're looking for, and this is the episode you're looking for. I tell you some gifs and gifable moments from the episode we just watched so that you don't have to go through the entire season to find the thing that you're looking for. So if you are looking for some really sweet Scott and Stiles or some really terrible Scott and Stiles, if you're doing like a cute thing or like an angst thing, this is your episode. This is Drunken Stiles. This is really the first kind of Scott and Lydia making out, living the dream. This is Victoria Argent. You find him, you kill him, you cut him in half. This is a lot of really sweet Kate and Allison moments. If you're looking for Kate just being thoughts and feelings, there's a lot of Kate in this episode, some really beautiful stuff. If you are looking for Jackson and Allison absolutely all over this episode. Anything with Allison and weapons, this is going to be a great episode for you. And of course, the Jackson Allison making out in the car. This is a great Papa Sheriff and Stiles hug. Is a great one. The incredibly cute scene between Scott and Derek when Derek brings Scott home. And another great shot of the Alpha overlooking the city. If you are looking for any of these things or are inspired to make any of these sets, or they can be useful to you, this is the episode you're looking for.
And it's better lit than the last one.
It's much better lit than the other one. Absolutely. Less blue.
Less blue. Less dark.
A little less blue.
A little less.
God, I hope that is actually helpful for somebody because I feel like it just is a mess, but I'm optimistic,
I am sure it is.
that I will be able to make it helpful. So if it helps you, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Someone out there is taking notes. Somewhere out there.
Kosh Opto.
Gosh.
It's a gore thing, the things that live in my brain because of Game of Roses. Kosh Opto.
Mm-mm. Having not seen any of it, there are a surprising number of people I know who are deep into Game of Roses.
You don't have to be into The Bachelor to be into Game of Roses.
Okay. Because I have not seen The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Or Bachelor in Paradise or Bachelor Pad or,
No.
No, that's okay.
I'm so sorry. I have failed. I have failed the city.
No need to apologize. We'll just drag you to the pit. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I guess that is the episode. There's so much of it, and they will continue to carry on as we march towards the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot to take care of.
So much. There's so much left to go. Oh my goodness.
People got to find some stuff out. People are going to try to get killed.
People are going to get caught and then let go and then caught and then let go. And then they're going to be confronted with secrets.
Hunters and werewolves and stuff. And
oh my.
romance and
Murder. Fire. Murder. Manslaughter.
mayhem. Shipping goggles, wunkles.
Oh, the goggles. The wunkles.
Terrible.
Fantastic.
Cool. Well, that is the episode. Thank you for listening. You can find us all over the internet at Fandom on the Rocks. And if you want to support the episode and the endeavors of these weirdos, you can do that at patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks for all sorts of bonus content. And that would be awesome. And you can just come say hello. And that would also be awesome. And that's all for this time. And we will check you for the next episode. You've been listening to Pack Dynamics, a Fandom on the Rocks podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. You can follow us online at Fandom on the Rocks. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can subscribe to our Patreon account at patreon.com/Fandom on the Rocks. Subscribers get access to ad-free content, exclusive bonus episodes, deep diving into fandom, and more. So until next time, keep your pack close.